Hi everybody, how are you doing? I can't believe it's just February. Our time is really flying. It's been a while, and of course, life is running. And when I am quiet a little bit, that means I'm cooking some good stuff. So get ready, and it's really an exciting year. I really hope so. Like everybody's doing okay. Like, how you doing actually? Drop a comment if you have concerns, if you have something that you want to share, something good. It doesn't matter, like whatever your feeling is, drop a comment and tell us. So I have a special guest. Muraho.
Maraho.
Amakuru.
Namesa.
What are my Rwandan people? Did you hear that? I'm gonna let her introduce herself, then we take it from there.
Sure. Hi, Rosine. I'm Jenny Tatum, and I'm happy to be able to talk with you today about how people like myself can welcome newcomers to the U.S.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for making time. I know it's been, finding a day when you're not too busy. When can we gather? But I'm glad that we made it.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, just stay tuned. We have a lot of stuff to talk about. We want to talk about especially serving, because she volunteers and she helps newcomers. She helps immigrants. And my very first question is gonna be, what do you enjoy the most helping others, and like what is your experience helping immigrants?
Sure. So I have been able to be matched with different people that have come to the U.S. mostly as refugees, with my husband, with my church, and then also independently. And I've been matched with people from Nepal, from Somalia, from Rwanda, from all over the world, and help them get used to life here in the U.S. And what I love about it is getting to meet new people and help them. And there's just a lot of joy in learning from them and learning about their culture and their traditions and sharing my own.
Thank you, Jenny. And I would add that not only she helps them, but she's that person. By the way, she helps people through her church, mainly in her personal life. So she volunteers at church. It's a group of people, they help people. And most of the beautiful things that I was able to experience, I was blessed. And is the dinner that you shared with one of the Rwandan families. So I was really blessed to be there, and I witnessed the way you guys, like, it's not easy, they don't speak your language. They sometimes maybe would nod, but they didn't get the whole message. And you either don't speak their language, just a little bit of English from them, and you trying to structure your sentences, to do all the sign language. This question is gonna be, what are the challenges and how do you handle them to be able to help these people?
Sure. So you actually brought up probably the biggest challenge, which is the language barrier. So that is something that if you're thinking about helping and you don't speak the language of who you are serving, that is going to be something that you can get around through, just like you said, some sign language, some charades, some written, maybe Google Translate. Maybe you just laugh together and you understand that they are learning an entire language of English, and we are just maybe as Americans struggling with a few sentences. As we can learn more in their language, it kind of helps us to have some empathy, or just to make them laugh if we mispronounce what we are trying to say in their language. I always recommend to someone that's helping someone from another country to learn a few phrases in their language. And so I think that another challenge could be that sometimes the questions that immigrants or newcomers to the U.S. would need help from an American on are just somewhat difficult. Sometimes they're needing help with reading their mail, or figuring out financial challenges, or helping to find employment. It's not anything that we as Americans haven't necessarily gone through. It's just that those can be challenging topics. And so you just need to have patience as you are serving. If you're taking on a volunteer role or you're helping a friend, is just going slow with them, having patience, but also showing them how to do it for themselves. So really teaching things with self-sufficiency in mind. So for instance, when our group helped people in our family to find jobs, we would sit with the laptop and actually show them how to use websites online, how to actually submit applications, versus just finding things that worked for them and submitting that ourselves. So it does take longer. So just know that you'll have to spend a little bit more time, but it's worth it to show them how to do it.
One of the things that you just mentioned that I want to highlight right now, patience. And the things that you help with people, they are just basic things that you wouldn't even think it's a problem for you because, born and raised in a country, reading a mail, it's in your mother tongue. It's like I'm reading a letter in Kinyarwanda, I wouldn't have a problem, but in a different language, it's going to take me long. By the way, it doesn't matter how long, you've been to a different country because I'm still struggling with some stuff. To be honest with you, it's been 6 years now, but I'm still taking my time. If I have, like, for example, I've been trying to transition to other jobs and stuff, and some trainings, it takes me forever. And I accept that and give myself a grace. So things that some people would take for granted, they are a challenge for others. Like helping somebody to look online, whatever the job they can do, and helping them to understand, okay, this is your background, here is the field, but you can start by here. And having them understand that they should be patient with themselves and start working because they need to make money to live. So those are the basic things, and thanks for highlighting that. This means if you are sometimes feel like, I don't know how I would help somebody who doesn't speak their language, or I'm not sure how, the culture is, I don't know how I would approach somebody. You go to church, you have somebody, a neighbor that you feel like maybe even their cuisine, their food smell differently. That means they are probably new in the country and they speak in a different language. Even body language is welcoming. That's how we would start, instead of looking down like a hi or a smile, waving, just being welcoming. So my next question is gonna be, since you started helping these people, and I know you mentioned that learning a different culture and stuff, what did you enjoy the most?
I think the part that I enjoy the most is that so much of American life is fast-paced. We always have a to-do list. A lot of times when I'm matched with a family and we are just spending time in the living room, kind of the time melts away. I love just spending time with people. And so sitting in a living room where you have no other agenda except to just play a game, play with the kids, and maybe do some tasks, because there are some things like reading the mail or applying for jobs, but really just spending time together. If you're a people person, you would enjoy this. A lot of times people that are new to the US don't have any visitors. So they love when people come into their house, and they will often offer you a cup of tea or something to eat, or you just share time together in the living room. And so if you are someone that enjoys just spending time with others, you would probably enjoy just being a friend to someone who could be quite isolated. So knowing that we're just spending time together, that's probably the best part.
Speaking of time and the way life here in US is, it's like, how New Yorkers, every morning everybody's running somewhere. I don't know if there is a deadline that day, but everybody's running, they're eating first. Like that is US Western world life. And on your agenda, you have a family, you planned that, and you enjoy just not having to look at what am I gonna do? And welcome to my club, because that's how we do it back home. We are more relaxed. Like we don't have pressure. It has its inconveniences, of course, but it's like we take time. So when you do that, take your time and hang out with them. It's probably culturally merging there. They don't have to think about anything else. They are just with you there and you're enjoying it. So speaking of culture, so culture-wise, how do you feel about like you being raised in a different culture, helping somebody from a different culture? Like what do you learn from them, or if there is any challenging situation that you go through culture-wise, would you share, and how do you handle that?
Sure. There are some differences. I think time is a big one. Obviously language, we talked about that as well. I think how we spend time. So sometimes with Americans, it's kind of like we have our to-do list or activities. We like to go out and do things. So it is just slowing things down. And I get to learn about that. It's also food. So part of the reason I would encourage people is travel is expensive. There is a whole world out there that we want to see, but we actually have it right here in Phoenix. We have it in our city. And so if you want to explore places with them, either museums or parks or places like that, but also doing it right in the home with them. So reading things together, asking them about their country, opening up maps, just simply asking questions. There's times where they ask us questions. Oh, what kind of animals do you have in the zoo here? What animals do you have at your, oh, they're the same, or, oh, they're really different. And just kind of understanding and navigating those things. One of the things that I think I would, and I'm not sure if this is answering your question specifically, but I think it goes to this point of challenges, is one of the things that I think stops people from wanting to volunteer, or where they kind of hesitate, is because of these challenges. And I will tell you that the things that we take for granted that we know how to do as Americans, or for those of you who have been here a few years, those are the kinds of things that people who are just arriving in their first couple of months, their first year, the things you know how to do are the things that they will get the most help from. So reading the mail, showing them how to get a library card, maybe how to ride the bus, what certain fruits and vegetables are in the store and how to prepare them, how to get around the city, how to do things that you might think, I can't teach them that. They already know how to do that. Imagine yourself in a new city that you didn't speak the language, that you didn't know how to get around. What would you want in those first couple weeks? And chances are those are things you're already doing and already know how to do. So sometimes we imagine they need to learn all these things that we don't know how to teach because we don't know the language. But truthfully, they're things you probably already do yourself, and you could just bring them along.
Thank you, Jenny, for responding to that. And to be, maybe I'm gonna shift gears a little bit for now. So when we talk about newcomers and immigrants, sometimes there are people who came here willingly. I want to go to US, I apply for, green card lottery or something else, other visiting country and stuff. But there are other people who come, who were forced to leave their country because they are persecuted, because there are some troubles around the world, and they needed somewhere to be, like they needed security, safe things that here are like automatically granted because it's a safe country. At least people are able to be in their homes and do their life. But some people have to come here because their homes are troubled. So they come with not only challenges as an immigrant, like regular immigrant, but also some trauma. They don't know how to approach people. They have some wound, and I would say that it's a different case scenario, because not only they need help around, but also they need to know like they are safe. And one of the things that show that you are safe is having like a kind neighbor that would show you that you are welcome and stuff. So my question after all that whole statement is, for people who just came here and they need like extra help, special help, because they just came with only the clothes on their back and they don't know where to start life, and they need help, like really from food to ABC, like everything they need in their daily life. Is there any specific advice you would give to them, like maybe 2 or 3 things that they should start with? From most of them come through agencies and stuff, and we're gonna talk probably about like resettlement agencies that they can go to. But what are the basic things that they should know, and what are their rights? Like, I'm not gonna go into law, but at least things that that they can have access on.
Sure. So as you mentioned, most of the people, all of the refugees that were to arrive in the US would come through a resettlement agency. We have 4 in Phoenix. And so usually a resettlement agency will cover the first 90 days or so of support. So things like rent and food and those basic needs. Those are the people that when I talk about volunteering with my church or with my husband, the people that I've served as newcomers are refugees. So that is a population that I completely agree need that extra help, both with day-to-day activities, but also that isolation. I would say that the things that I would recommend for people in that situation, language is powerful. If you're able to practice English, please, I encourage you to find a class. There are free classes And there's a number of them in Phoenix where you can actually take a bus or drive if you have a car and go to those classes that are offered for free. And that will open up a whole world to you. And then do your homework and practice outside of class. That's really important. In addition to my work with refugees, both professionally and as a volunteer, I'm also an English teacher. So I think homework is really important in between, and practicing just natural conversation. And even if you make mistakes, just be brave when you're talking, and have little times during the day where maybe you just practice with a person in a shop or a store. And if you make a mistake or you feel embarrassed, you don't have to go back to that store. If you pick a place that you don't want to shop at too often and just practice with those really basic phrases. Or at a cash register, don't go to self-checkout. Go to someone that will check out, and they say, "How are you?" And you say, "Good, how are you?" Even if you say 4 or 5 things, you'll feel better. I actually hadn't spent a lot of time, but about a year I spent outside of the US. And I remember every time I was using my Spanish, I'd feel so proud when I went to a store and got to use a sentence or two in Spanish. And secondly, I would say another good thing is, of course, employment. Hopefully, if you are someone that's come over with a case manager, they'll help you with employment, but that can always be a challenge to find a job that you love. So keep searching, keep looking for work that'll help you to get to meet new people. And then I would also say part of what we're talking about in this time is about how Americans can volunteer and serve, but also once you've gotten your time here and you feel comfortable, you can volunteer. It's a free way that you can get involved to meet new people. You can do it through a church, you can do it through a nonprofit, but you can actually use the skills you have of another language, of what you learned in the first few months or few years that you've been here, and volunteer to help other people in your situation. I think that's a further goal down the road, but that would be amazing to have you become a volunteer for other people in your situation. So using the skills and talents you have. Those are 3 recommendations I could think of. Do you have some too?
Thank you, Jenny. Let me just highlight those things I just said because they're really important in case she will be fast for you. I'm kidding. I know we talked about it, not too American way.
Yes.
Let's just go slowly today. Yeah, she speaks so fast for me sometimes, but today we are going slow for people to understand everything. So you are new here. First off, you need some basic things to do, but employment is on top, but also practicing this language because, of course, I know French, but doesn't bring bread here. So, of course, I know Kinyarwanda, but I can't work with my Kinyarwanda here. So I spoke English, I studied English, and I had some level, but I had to improve myself professionally to get somewhere because that was my goal. Get educated and get somewhere. And that requires a lot of homework. It's not only what you do in school and get the score. It requires you to get home and decide, I'm not going to watch French movies anymore. I'm just going to switch to English on Netflix. That's like, I could say more and more what helped me, but Jenny is trying to say even in a store, approach somebody and just say hi and hear the way they pronounce it. It helps. I mean, switching accents sometimes can be like really heavy and stuff, but hanging out with people who grew up in a different, environment than yours helps you to practice more. Some words come automatically. You will hear me sometimes here speaking like freely, but I get on the word and I trip. Like it's totally in French or Kinyarwanda. Like that's how the way it is, but we learn over time. So employment, practicing the language. What else did you say? Remind me.
Also, once you feel like you have some time here, volunteer to help others in your situation.
Giving back to the community. Well, my case is different. Somebody's case is different. But I remember even giving a ride to go to church to somebody who was new was one of the most fulfilling things I ever done. I'm not going to mention any names or anything, but that was my satisfaction because I had rides the very first weeks before I get my car. I am so grateful for that family somewhere in Indiana, but they picked me up every Sunday and took me to church and made sure that I have a ride because where I was living, they went to a different church, so I didn't have to Uber or anything. So when I got my car and was able to get around and stuff, the first thing I noticed that there were so new people in the neighborhood. Then, like, how did we meet? At church. That's how we met. And Jenny's gonna mention church a lot because that's how she helps people. That's where she connects with people. So there are so many communities probably, but here as faith people, we're gonna talk about church more. And I don't know if there is any other community that people can connect with others to get help.
Sure. It depends on if you want to volunteer in a formal way. So if you are someone who loves this idea of helping newcomers, but don't know where to meet someone that's new, there are formal organizations, nonprofit organizations. I'll be sure to share some links with Rosine so you can click on that if you would like to sign up as a volunteer and don't have a neighbor, don't have a church member that that fits that situation, but you have some skills. I'll be sure to share some organizations, but there's lots out there where you can get matched with someone that's brand new that needs help with English as a second language tutoring or just homework tutoring if they're in school, and also mentoring. What we call a first friend at a lot of organizations is just being someone's friend. Yes, so I'll be sure to share those with you.
Yeah, sure. I will be happy to pin them and mention them like on the video, so that if you know somebody who is new, doesn't know where to start from or need help, yeah, please, yeah, they can, you can share, you can subscribe to get more videos. But today I want you to share so people know about agencies, like resettlement agencies that help people. And as we mentioning the church, that's where I could meet like some other randoms. And sometimes you don't tell immediately that they are from your home country, but obviously you see that they are from the motherland, the way we we wear things, like our clothing, the way we behave. And of course you're having this eye contact and you're like, hey, what's up, how are you doing today? That's how you connect with people. So you can give back in so many ways. Maybe if you notice that they came to church Ubering, then you can ride them back. They may not be so close to your place, but one day a week you can give a ride. So here we are trying to see ways we can help each other, support each other. And we are talking about different cases, immigrants where you come willingly or where you were forced to flee your country. Either way, there is no way this is easy. It's not easy move. It's not easy, especially when you came by yourself. When you have a family, at least you have somebody to vent. By the end of the day, do you know what happened today? Or I can't apply for a job or whatever. But when you came by yourself, it's another challenge, which right now I want to tell you that you're doing great, that you trying your best and ask for information. I will be having more like guests here and there, just making sure that we have good information for you guys. But if you are still feeling like you are alone and you are going through a lot, please contact me. And I don't have all answers, but I have connection and I have good people around. So wrapping up this good conversation, I would like you, Jenny, to give like overall message. What would be your message out here, either for newcomers who need those basic services, and for people who would help more, because that's all we need. It takes a community.
Definitely. Yes. You've mentioned that I volunteer with my church. We are, as a person of faith, we believe that we're called to love God and love others. And so love others as we would love to be loved. And so when I think about what would I want from someone, if I was a foreigner in a new land, if I was a stranger, what would I want? So I challenge you to think of the same thing. If you're an American watching this and thinking, how can I help? Or if you are someone who has recently arrived but been here a few years, think about what you needed in those first couple of months, or what you would want if you were in a new place. And that's probably something that your neighbor needs. So I challenge you to sign up to either just be brave and go over and walk and talk to your neighbor that you've never talked to before. Or if you don't have a situation where you know someone like that, simply go online to one of the links that I'll share and you can sign up formally to volunteer, where you can teach English or you can be a first friend. And I think that you'll see that you're getting a lot more out of it than you're going to put in. And I think it's also just challenging ourselves that a lot of times people are here because of an injustice, because of something that we can actually make a difference in advocating, or we can make a difference in spending time because of something in our world that has really created the reason why they're here. And so we can actually play a part and channel some of that frustration or feeling that we have that we want to make change by doing something with our time. I also want to summarize by saying, for anybody that is in the situation where they've just arrived and they're feeling isolated, that there are people in the community that do care about you, and that I hope that through Rosine's help and through watching different videos, you can get connected to those resources. There are lots of places that are free in the US to just go and spend time, whether that's parks or Arizona hiking trails, the library, computer labs, places where even if you're not sure how to go about meeting people, go to those spaces where people are, and just be outside of your apartment, be outside of your home, to just take advantage of those times to get outside of maybe those darker times that you're feeling isolated, and you may make a new friend. So I encourage everybody out there to be kind to one another and to meet someone from a new place, learn a couple new phrases, and I think that both parties will benefit a lot from that. So I hope to see many more volunteers out there.
Vite.
Vite. I know Vite is what's up, but I don't know the response.
Nibjiza.
Oh, the pizza. I have to say Vite because I can never pronounce the
Did you think that you were
response.
gonna just escape without me putting that something in? Oh, hang on. One last fun minute. So, did you think that we're gonna escape that? No. I have you here.
You surprised me.
Vite.
The pizza.
Nibjiza.
Nibisa. See, can I say Vite?
Okay, go ahead.
Vite.
Nibjiza. That's the easiest way, right?
Much better.
What's up? Anyways, the last fun moment. Da-da-da-da-da-da. So, what is the most funniest?
Oh my gosh.
Did you think that we're gonna go away? No.
You had to prepare me. A funny moment. The funny moment is just that. It's like usually when I walk in the house and so I watch these videos usually before I walk into the household, that I'm like, I'm going to read this 3 times so I remember how to say a new phrase. And then I think it's so perfect. And I watch it and I open the door and I say it. And then they all look at me like, what? And I'm like, and I repeat it and they say, we still don't know what you mean. So then I show them on the phone. They say, oh, and then they say it. And then I say, that's what I said. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about. You should always use words and phrases that you can in their language, because they're trying to learn an entire language. If you can't even get one phrase right, it's pretty funny to them, but it shows you're trying.
Yeah, I promise no more trick. Like the box of tricks is out now.
Okay, I've gotten good morning down now. So every day at work, if I can say maramutse.
Maram say,
Okay.
whoa, high five, girl. Thank you. I was like, let me see if the mga you're gonna get it. Maram say.
Some words are easier than
Yes.
others. Yeah.
Good job, Jenny.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right. Lovely people. We can stay here forever. That's sometimes when you have like a person like Jenny, you just don't want to end the conversation because you are talking about stuff and you're just having fun and good time. But the focus here, we good people. We are trying to help people and spreading good message here. And I hope really that you get something out of this conversation. And if you have further questions, if you have further concerns, please contact me. Remember, do your thing, share, subscribe, and this is a good year. Stay tuned. I have a lot of stuff in my box to give to you. I have a lot of gifts in the future. I'm planning to have guests to talk about a little bit about law enforcement, which we needed to know literally because, a country has like laws and rules, so you gotta keep it disciplined, in a good right way. I'm planning to get back Maggie. I was talking to her. Hi, Maggie. So I'm planning to bring her back to talk about a little bit expanding your community and healthy habits. So stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of I'm still waiting to see if I can get a person to talk about bank information and how to have an account and credit score and stuff like that. Things that we all need every day, but still challenging. Jenny, not to get back into a whole conversation,
Sure.
but recently I was trying to get an insurance. I have insurance that I did 6 months, which is a lot of money, but I got to talk with that person who was trying to close me, but we didn't get to that point, but we got connected, and she was like, yeah, there are some tips that you can things that you can do so you keep your insurance, and for a certain time the pay get low. I was like, girl, can we be friends? Because this is like, it's really challenging. Like, they speak insurance language and you don't understand reliability, full coverage, blah blah blah. They think they're explaining to you, but eventually you don't understand the whole thing. And anyways, that's probably another conversation, but I'm trying to get things that, most of the time, things that challenge me, I would think that would challenge somebody else like me. Or if you have any idea, any insight of something that you want me to talk about in the future, please contact me, drop a comment, and my social media. And thank you so much, Jenny.
Happy to be here. Thank
All right. See you next time, lovely people. Bye.
Bye-bye.